After taking a break from talking about Toni Basil and her songs for a little while, I wanted to make, what I intended to be, a one-off return to the topic by discussing her song, Breakaway. For anyone who hasn't seen my previous song reviews, I don't use clips of the actual songs for the sake of avoiding copyright issues. Instead, the background footage is made up of various clips that I've recorded myself, be it in real life or a video game called Train Sim World 5. In the unlikely event of this video getting loads of views, I should say that, for anyone who's new to my channel, trains are the main topic here, and I normally review add-ons in two video games, either Train Sim World 5 or Train Simulator Classic. That's what the regular viewers would mainly know me for, but sometimes I also go out to film rail activity in real life. I like to deviate from the normal talking points here and there, and I also present the unique situation of a rail fan from faraway New Zealand who's also a fan of Toni Basil. As my dad would say, it takes all sorts to make a world. Incidentally, there's a connection between Toni Basil and the railways. It's a very loose connection, but a connection nonetheless, although it's not one of the main reasons why I'm a fan of Toni's music in the first place. In any case, stock footage of a 1960s-era British electric locomotive can briefly be seen in the music video for her song Over My Head. Toni Basil recorded Breakaway in 1966, and it got released as a single with another song called I'm 28 as the B-side. I can't really comment on I'm 28 because I haven't listened to it yet. In any case, I initially thought there was barely any information available on Breakaway, until I found some in-depth articles during the research for this video. Links to said articles are in the description. Even then, if you're watching Toni, I hope you can tell your fans, by making a video on your own channel or some other means, more about how and why Breakaway came to be in the first place. Come to think of it, I'm also curious to learn why your song Street Beat uses cadence drums instead of a more common drum machine or electric drum kit. As for why I'm using video game footage of British steam locomotives, that's because I wanted to use a route that's set as close to 1966 as we can get in Train Sim World 5. This route is named Peak Forest Railway. It is set in 1963, and it happens to be the only 60s-era route in the game. As was often the case back in the 60s, Breakaway is a very short song, with a runtime of only 2 minutes and 17 seconds. The structure is pretty simple, with a short intro, first verse and chorus, followed by the second verse, a repeat of the chorus, and an abrupt fade-out at the end. There is no bridge or long instrumental break. According to a website called Discogs.com, Breakaway was written by someone named Ed Cobb, and I've read elsewhere that its genre is Northern Soul. I don't know what that means, to be honest. In any case, and to my ears at least, the song sounds a bit like a sped-up version of Time of the Season by the Zombies. Incidentally, and for anyone who didn't see a recent community post of mine, I tried writing parody/alternative lyrics to the same tune as the original Breakaway lyrics, just to see if I could write a song of any kind, and I was taking inspiration from Weird Al Yankovic. Check the pinned comment on this video if you're curious to read the parody lyrics. Lyrically, I've always interpreted Breakaway as being about a desire to break free from restrictive/unhappy situations. I can certainly relate to that desire, not to mention being afraid of, to quote a line from the second verse, wagging tongues behind my back. But what I can't relate to is having a 20-pound or 9.07 kilogram ball hanging by a chain around my neck. I dare say that opening line requires some suspension of disbelief. As for Toni's vocal performance on the song, it's hard for me to properly review since I don't understand the technical side of singing all that well. But I will say that I think she had a decent vocal range even back in '66. By the time she got around to recording her 2 studio albums, she had become a much better singer, in my opinion, especially if her performance on Over My Head is anything to go by. I've said words to this effect before, and screw it, I'll say it again. The extended version of Over My Head is a goddamn phenomenal song whose praises I cannot sing highly enough. I just wish that it had more verses and a longer guitar solo. It's a real shame that it wasn't a massive hit on par with Mickey. Come to think of it, the same goes for Toni's 7-minute epic called Suspense. In my mind at least, Breakaway has the overall sound of a classic 1960s song, but it wasn't a hit, and has remained relatively obscure over the years. Indeed, I had no idea that the song ever existed until I heard Toni Basil herself talk about it on a podcast earlier in 2025. There's a radio station here in New Zealand, called Magic, that plays a lot of vintage 60s music, and I think Breakaway would suit the station quite well. Incidentally, while I was doing research for this video, I found out that, in 2012, a British band called The Primitives recorded a cover of Breakaway. Besides its significance as Toni Basil's first song, Breakaway is also notable for being the namesake and basis of a short film directed by Bruce Conner. I haven't seen it myself, but from what I've heard, it's like an early version of what we now know as a music video. During my research over the past few months, I learnt that Toni already had experience as a dancer and choreographer prior to recording Breakaway, and after the fact, she also starred in the films Easy Rider and 5 Easy Pieces, and choreographed the 1968 film Head, which starred a band called The Monkees, known for their songs Daydream Believer and I'm a Believer. As an aside, I have never been a fan of Smash Mouth's version of I'm a Believer. As a further aside, one of the actors who starred in Easy Rider, namely Peter Fonda, would later star in a Thomas the Tank Engine film, of all things. The film was released in the year 2000, and its title is Thomas and the Magic Railroad, or, as some people call it, Tommy and the Tragic Failroad. In the 1970s, Toni helped form a dance group called The Lockers, who have since become legends in the world of dance. At least that's what I've heard. And unlike Toni, Slim the Robot, and the others whose names I've forgotten, I can't dance. I didn't know much about The Lockers at first, but I have since found out that they have a website where you can read all about their history, link in the description. Come to think of it, did Soul Train have anything to do with actual trains? If not, why was it called Soul Train in the first place? Anyway, soon after The Lockers began, Toni also worked with David Bowie on his Diamond Dogs tour. Side note, if you ever wanted an example of a phenomenal guitar riff, go listen to Rebel Rebel. A few years after that tour, Toni performed a song called Wham Rebop on Saturday Night Live. I have nothing to say about Wham Rebop, nor do I know what the song's title means, so swiftly moving on. In 1980, Toni would also work with another David. In this case, it was David Byrne from Talking Heads, by choreographing and co-directing the music videos for Once in a Lifetime and Cross-Eyed and Painless. It wasn't until 1981 when she finally recorded her first studio album, Word of Mouth, which included, but was not limited to, the massive hit Mickey, along with the lesser-known Shopping from A to Z, and the rest, as they say, is history. I know I've skipped over several things in this video, but in my defense, there's so much to this woman's history as a dancer, choreographer, singer, and actor, quadruple whammy, that I can't even begin to comprehend it all, let alone include it all in this video. In any case, I still respect her for what she's achieved over the years, and it's good to see that she's still going strong all these years later. In conclusion, Toni Basil's Breakaway is a fine little song as far as I'm concerned, especially for something recorded 59 years ago. I see it as having a good upbeat rhythm and a relatable theme, but I wouldn't consider it to be one of my absolute favourites, especially when compared to Suspense and Over My Head, and I wish it went on for longer than only 2 minutes and 17 seconds. In any case, I hope this video can introduce more people to the obscure debut song from the woman who's perhaps best known for singing Mickey, and for anyone who might like to listen to Breakaway, I'll include a link to the song in the description. Before I sign off, I thought I should include a plug for the other videos I've made about Toni's music, which can be found in a playlist on my channel called Experiments. I also want to thank Toni Basil herself for unintentionally introducing me to Party Train by the Gap Band when she shared the song's music video on Facebook the other week. Incidentally, I think the Glenbrook Vintage Railway's Christmas train looks a bit like the embodiment of a party train, if you ask me. And to the viewers as a whole, I say, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you around.